So this is a scrapbook that I purchased on eBay. And I know what you're thinking. What was I doing purchasing a scrapbook on eBay? So there's a longish story, which I will tell because I think it's interesting. So basically there was this guy who had a scrapbook on eBay, and this is like a common story. You'll see cards taped into it, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. And basically I looked at the cards. They looked okay. They got there ones in there that were from the 30s. But the photos weren't great, and the story was sort of like, oh, I don't know anything about cards, which is a common kind of eBay scammer story. Then I looked a little closer at the sort of fringes of the pictures, and it looked like there were some newspaper articles that were at least in the right time period. And I also saw some photos and things in there. So and the tape itself was old. And so I thought, this is like either an elaborate ruse, and also I should say this too, the places where the scrapbook, I could see like locations where the person was. They said their uncle had passed away. So all the sort of, it looked like it was his family's scrapbook. Now, so I got the sense through some contextual investigation that he wasn't trying to be any kind of way untoward or scammy, but he might have been passing on things that were reprinted or whatever. So I looked at the cards. I tried to zoom in and take a look at the pictures. They looked okay. They looked somewhat real, and I just figured let's just take a jump and see. So I removed the cards out of the scrapbook, and I'll post some pictures here so you can see what they look like in the scrapbook, right in the corner of the frame here, or in the middle. I got them out. They're in bad condition, but as many of you know, for some of the key cards in the Goudey set, that's not really a huge issue because they tend to be pretty valuable, the key cards can, even in bad condition, can fetch a pretty high price. So let's take a look at this thing. So this is the scrapbook, and so immediately I looked at some of the articles, and they have dates on them. Some of the dates are like in the some of the dates are in like the 30s and the 40s. Here are some of the cards. You got Vernon Gomez, Lloyd Wayner, Babe Herman, Tony Lazzari, Charlie Gehringer, Gus Mancuso. Multiple Hall of Famers right here. There's a Paul Wayner somewhere too. Where is he? This guy, Zimmerman, T206 came in this thing. Where's that Paul Wayner? There's a Paul Wayner sitting around here too. And they were kind of pasted in. You can see there were 3 down here like this. There were a few in other places. The color is pretty astounding on these things. Some of them are really, the color is amazing. And some of the backs, all the backs are somewhat ripped off. I'm trying to find a back that's not as ripped off so you can see the... So some of the things I had people sort of giving opinions on these. Some of the things people were saying were, the backs are too white. And that would be true, except that they were pasted in a scrapbook. And so the sunlight doesn't get to the card. This is the color they're originally supposed to be. But without looking at the ink, etc., it's hard to tell really, just because there's tape all over them. They're not in perfect condition. The borders aren't perfect, for sure. They're all over the place. These ones are all right. This one's all right. This one is way off. This one is way off. So they're varying condition. The corners are all banged up on some of these. Anyways, I really like the way that card looks. So I looked through it some more. This is kind of crazy. This is a picture of this guy. It came snapped like this on Guadalcanal, which is amazing. I'm gonna send it back to them because that's not really anything that I want, and I'm sure it's important to them. I did not cut that, just so you know. Here's another picture here. This is a picture from 1936. His name is in it. There's another picture here from, pardon me, the guy who's the guy whose scrapbook it was. There's another picture of like an article, contemporary article about Babe Ruth. So this is an old scrapbook. There's really no question. Here's the Hall of Fame induction for Babe Ruth. Here are some other pictures of the cards that he took. So the Babe Ruth that he took a picture of is not what came in here. Here are the breadwinners here. So I'm not going to take these out of the case. Suffice to say they're not glossy. I'm going to put up some high-res scans of these. Bing, up in the corner. So, or should I say, bing! The couple things I was looking for. One, on the back of the Gehrig, the overprint. You can see the red big league through the back. And that's a good sign. That means that overprinting is hard to reproduce because you're basically reprinting cards in a printing press. So you can't really do it with a printer. I mean, you'd have to fake an overprint, which is pretty difficult, I believe. I don't think that that's that easy. It's possible, for sure. This one has no back. Babe Ruth has no back. I don't really care. So one thing I'm trying to figure out also is the way that it looks. So if you look at the high-res scans up here, bing, you can see deep in the color that it doesn't have the dot matrix. It has the cardboard striations, just exactly how you want it to look. I'll show you a card over here, which is how they're supposed to look, the zoomed-in version, or the dot matrix, the non-dot matrix of these cards. The other really interesting thing I didn't read about, but I think is a pretty interesting sign, the whole card has this pattern, sort of waviness that kind of goes with the card where the ink is, and then down by his foot where that Goudey stamp is on both the Ruth and the Gehrig, there are these stamps that say it's a Goudey gum GG & Co. 1933, and those stamps are over the top of the other paint, and it's completely solid. There's no pixelation, there's nothing. So that looks like an actual stamp. So those are all good signs. The cardboard feels kind of weird, but I can't tell if that's because they're all torn up or what. And I also have never handled a Goudey, so I don't know. So here's my question. Are they real? I'll take the Gehrig out so you can take a better look at it. But the scan is really what's going to do it for you. Now, do you think these are real? I don't know. They're the right length, the right width, have the right overprinting, and the right... they have the right, the stamp, at least what I would assume to be the correct way. They also have this crazy look, like they just look, the printing quality is pretty cool. It just looks, I don't know, it looks different than the way that printers print now. There's something almost like three-dimensional about the way they printed these things. You know the way the 48 leafs look? They have that kind of like second layer of print on top. It kind of looks like that to me. There's a strangeness to these that I've never seen before. But I've also, again, never handled a real Goudey, so what do I know? Anyways, these were all in the... I'm not being super careful with these because they're all obviously either ones or authentics. But they do get pretty valuable. I think that the Ruth I've seen in authentic for a couple grand. Same thing with the Gehrig. It just depends on what people like. This one has no back, so I think they'll probably go for similar amounts. I have no idea how much, but because this one has a back on it, if they're authentic. Now the other question is I could just auction them off and see with the information I have and let someone else take the risk. I could grade them or I could just keep them because to be honest with you, I'm getting kind of attached to them too. So anyways, Ruth and Gehrig from a scrapbook I bought at a severe discount, and the rest of these bad boys here. I'll put them out one more time so everyone can see them. Harry and Gomez, Lloyd Wayner, Charlie Gehringer, Gus Mancuso, and then Babe and Lou Gehrig. And there's a Lefty Gomez and a Lefty Grove, and there's Babe Herman, and a Paul Wayner, and something else upstairs in my scanner. So you'll put them up here so you can see those. And yeah, pretty amazing. So I'm gonna send. I think I might send one to the SGC and one to the PSA, just to see what they say. I've got a ball with a bunch of old Red Soxes from the 40s I want to send to. So, anyways. Oh, this is interesting too, right? This is from probably from the early 70s here, because you've got the home run leaders. This the article when Hank Aaron just passed Babe Ruth, so I guess that put him in like 72. Is that right? You guys call me out on it if it's not, but I want to say that's 70. Yeah, 72. I don't know, 73. Can't be much past that. Anyways, so here it is. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will send the grading results as soon as I get them. Kind of amazing though. Pretty incredible. All right, guys. I'll see you later.